everyone, this is Astron, and well, it's been a while. A lot of things have gone on since my last upload. I have shot some small videos, and when I look back through them, I just didn't think they were worth uploading. I was still self-conscious on how I sounded since my last dental appointment. That was back in July last year. So I figured I'd do a little channel update, talk about some things I got on my mind. There's also, a lot of things happened in media in the intervening time. News in the toy industry and things, and I kind of want to speak about a little bit of everything here. Kind of give everybody an update, what's going on, where I've been, and I want to work on something. I don't know if I got the skills to do it. I may need some help from some of my other streamer friends that are subscribed. But I have a Warframe idea, or Warframe video, and that has to do with an a cappella group called Voice Play. And they recently did, and I say recently because I only seen it last week, but back in January, they did Code Below. And I've watched several reaction videos on it, and I was blown away by the fact that no matter how far I looked in YouTube, Warframe players, like current players, nobody has reacted to this song. And I'm like, really? Because while I'm watching everyone else's videos, they're commenting on things, and I'm sitting there going, I know what those references are. It's like the dude doing the beatboxing at one point goes doo 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 doo. It's like he's a cephalon. That's like a cephalon noise. And I believe they all play Warframe, at least to an extent, because they were Tenno. And that was the point of the outfits. They're all a group of Tennos that are in the same clan and are sharing the same fashion aesthetic between them. And like Jeff Costalucci's Tenno has got an amp on his right arm. And I'm sitting there going, man, everybody's talking about all this wonderful stuff. All this wonderful stuff. Sorry about that little skip there. Got a call from a spam number. That's the other reason it's been difficult to make videos. And they have no clue what these references are. Like the heterochromia in the eyes, the reason why it snaps to a white background at the end. It's like they're in the void. They're like broadcasting from the void in a railjack or something like that. Like I can easily put some lore together. And that goes to my video idea. So I went to a relay last night to see if we still couldn't come out of our frames. And I get why you can't, because you got people who haven't done Second Dream yet, new players, and you don't want to completely spoil it, even though the very paradox kind of does if you start that route. So, but I'll always look at it from the point of view of a new player starting on the Warframe side and not the Daviri side. So, in that case, I went to the dojo. I got to looking around. I've got some great members of my dojo that have just done some remarkable remodeling. And I need to put a dojo note up for someone to do a green screen room, or like a back wall that's a green screen. And what I want to do is insert the Voice Play video into the screen capture from the game. So I could have a Sabagoth there, which is the Call Tempestari quest. People can bring their favorite frames and favorite fashions. You don't even have to be a member of the dojo to do this. Just, show up on invite. We all coordinate what time to be there and record a 3-minute long video. And then I will go in and I'll break down what they did and why and how. So that way, people who don't play Warframe that love voice play, they might be getting interested in the game because of the song, but there's no real context because a veteran player, from what I can tell, hasn't made a video on it. So I'm thinking about doing that. And if that seems too difficult to do, then probably what I would do is do a live stream and record it locally on my computer and have everybody show up, kind of do the same thing, but I can inlay the window with the video playing kind of into my display space that I'd use it in. And I think that would work out really well too. That was the original idea, and then I'm like, there's a way to do this better, give it better production value, to give it the gravitas the song deserves, because they did an amazingly good job with the song. And I probably listened to it well over 40 times already. Speaking of listening to music on repeat is Has Been Hotel. That is a very, very cool little show that you got to keep an open mind to it. And I highly recommend it, whether you're religious or not. The message in the show is one of second chances and redemption. And that is never too late to change yourself for the better. And the music is so good. I grew up on musicals and Disney movies and things like that, and listening to Phantom of the Opera and Cats and Jesus Christ Superstar. I'm familiar with all of it. Oh, they plowed my road. That's actually not a bad thing. Got rid of my ruts. Time to make a new one. Anyway, so I've discovered I really, really gravitate to the character Alistair. I'm not sure why, but I like the character. I find him fascinating, and I have my own thoughts and theories as to what's going on with him. And I'm highly looking forward to season 2. In other entertainment news, I have not seen Dune 2 yet. I haven't had time, much like the whole thing of not being able to have time to make videos. My work has been keeping me very busy. And we'll go into a work update here shortly, because I want to make some more oil field videos, but there's some complications with that. But circling back around, X-Men 97. Those of you who know me in real life know that I am an absolute huge X-Men fan. Specifically of the Chris Claremont and Jim Lee eras, all the way up to roughly 2005. When Joe Madureira took over the artwork, my mom stopped buying them for the most part. I had to buy them on my own money and stuff like that, because she didn't like the anime style of Madureira, or the manga style of Madureira. I didn't care too much for it either at the time. It's grown on me over the years. But, I didn't care too much for her suit redesigns and all that. And I kind of fell out of X-Men until House of X and Powers of X. I've read most of House of X. I've obviously read House of M, Operation Zero Tolerance, you know, all the key stuff you needed to kind of keep up with what was going on. So we're sitting there watching X-Men 97. One, well, I guess Gambit's not an Eternal anymore, so that sucks. But, or Immortal, or External. I think it was an External. As part of being the Thieves Guild and something to do with his background and history, and I don't quite remember all of it. That was very long ago in a comic I read one time. So I'll have to watch Comics Explained to see what the current status of Gambit in the comic is. I kind of want to see him become the Horseman of Death. It is kind of hinted at that. I mean, Morph was dead, and they brought him back. And this is Marvel and X-Men. I mean, it's going to happen eventually. And part of me wants Gambit back. Well, a large part does, actually. But another part of me, as a storyteller, understands the emotional weight of getting rid of the character. It had to happen in order to give some motivation and some gravitas to Rogue's character development. And honestly, I'm cool with that. Other reaction channels, they've talked about, you know, when they saw the episodes, they had their theories, and I'm sitting there going, yeah, that's exactly what they're going to do. It's obvious, but I'm liking how they're pulling it off. The mutant massacre of 97 being Genosha was a good call. The fact that Bastion got his hands on Magneto, good call. I'm wondering what it is he does to Magneto to make him revert back into wearing the red outfit. So that'll be interesting. I believe he'd be justified in anything he wanted to do. This next 3 weeks are going to be very, very edge of the seat watching for 97. So, yeah. If you have access to Disney Plus, or as I call it, Disney Minus, and, you know, or just want to get it for 1 month, give it 3 more weeks and binge 97. It is worth watching. It is very good. I have absolutely no complaints of it. Over on the Amazon side of things, they have a Amazon original series of Zorro. Didn't know this existed. Kind of come across it by accident. Started watching it, and I took 3 days after work and finished the entire thing, and absolutely love it. Very well done. Very true to the spirit of the character and who the character is. People comparing it to being a Batman ripoff have no clue the history of Zorro, and it's painfully obvious. But I'd recommend that. Obviously, Has Been Hotel, Invincible, holy crap, very good. What was I just watched on Amazon? Oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. Because when I finished it, I was like, okay, there better be another season. Oh, that's embarrassing. It is right here, but it won't come out here. What was it? I just mentioned it to Silver. Oh, Fallout. So I never played the Fallout games. Never had an interest in them. I was like, yeah, whatever. And I have a particular disdain for the color yellow. Yes, I know X-Men yellow's a thing, but I can kind of ignore it. But, you know, started watching the series, and I got to episode 6, and I'm like, okay, I need sleep. Got to be at Elise early in the morning. Came back from work next day, and I finished it. A friend of mine, Emily, had asked me if I'd watched it yet, and I hadn't got around to it. I've been planning on it based on what I've heard Midnight's Edge and Critical Drinker and everyone talk about it. So I finally finished it. The Ghoul's my favorite character. I really, really like Lucy, because unlike most of your female protagonists, she starts out naive and she grows as she fails. And she doesn't give up, and she learns, and she's getting tougher. Not stronger, but tougher. She's adapting to her circumstances and learning through her failure. This is what makes a compelling character. And, yeah. I like everyone. The cast is great. The storytelling is good. As a matter of fact, as I told Silver, as someone who had zero interest in Fallout games, after watching the TV series, I have gone and watched lore videos on YouTube so I can piece together what's been going on. And I'm very much enjoying it and eagerly awaiting season 2 of Fallout. So there's that. Aside from Dune 2, I would like to see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire and the new Godzilla vs. Kong. I want to see both those, but like I said, my time is extremely limited. Will be for quite some time to come. On the channel review front, I have a backlog and then some. Matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, I picked up the entirety of the McFarlane Batman and Robin set to go with my Batmobile DC Multiverse Flash Batman, Michael Keaton, and the Batman 89 Batman that come with that Batmobile. There's some other key things I would like to get before I do the review, because I might just review them all at once. Because, you know, McFarlane figures, figure to figure, the articulation scheme is pretty well the same. What I feel like more people would be interested is the sculpt, the range of movement. Is there any things to know about that is a deficit to the figure, such as does the neck move and look right, things like that, proportioning. My CAG set for the Batmobile from Ramen Toy shipped yesterday. Excuse me. So, that's the reason why I haven't done a Batmobile review video. I did shoot one for the unboxing and quick thoughts as a short. I never uploaded it because it was like 10 seconds too long and I didn't want to trim anything out. And I figured I might stick it in as a kind of a bumper to the CAG review, which is Canopy and Guts from Ramen Toys. I ordered it back when the first round of pre-orders happened. I'm still waiting on the Ramen Racer to ship. I got that too. But I wanted to wait and do the review of the Batmobile as it comes out of the box and after installing the CAG set. I can already tell you I'm going to love it. There's people that's got samples that have shown what it looks like in profile. Even if there is a little bit of gappage, who cares? The stock one on mine is gapped, so what's it matter? But Ace is a freaking perfectionist, and the fact that he went back and retooled it, yeah, I had to wait a month or two longer, but the fact that he wanted the quality of his product to be perfect, or as close to perfect as he can get, for something that costs 20 bucks. I mean, come on. How do you not support that? It's like the Ramen Racer. How do you not support something as cool as that? I kind of wish I'd got the orange one to go with it, or 2 black ones so I could have 2 different variations, because I got all the accessories. But I couldn't afford it at the time. I kind of can now. I might go back and do another order for an orange and the gray one, but you know, I'm kind of flip-flopping on that one. Never was a big Dukes of Hazzard fan. I grew up watching it. I like the General Lee as much as the next person. But it wasn't one of those things of I have to have it, unlike it was the Ramen Racer Black. Because that's Blades, that's Ghost Riders, Robbie Reyes's. You can do the Fast and the Furious car. You can do so much with it. So much customization that I can slot it into however I want the display to look at that time and what characters I want to spotlight. The main reason I got it is because it also came with a Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider head. I've got a body for it already, waiting for it. And that is solely to be in my Midnight Suns collection. Because my Midnight Suns collection is a combination of comic book and video game. And I love the video game. I really need to track down that Iron Man that came out a couple months ago. I got the Silver Centurion in it right now as a placeholder because that was a suit you could wear. But using the actual Midnight Sun suit would be better. Got the Blade from that Series 2 because, well, updated Blade, how can you say no? And, yeah, eventually I will get back around to doing video reviews. I've got a lot of stuff that I've already taken precursory looks at. And, it's just going to be a while, guys. I apologize. Now I'm going to tell you why. I kind of buried the lead. So, about this time last year, I became a company pumper for one of my contracts. That meant I couldn't work for anyone else, and I worked on a salary position. And, you know, I oversaw rigs, field operations, and covered about a 300-mile area of overseeing oil leases, on top of the stuff I pumped for them. Now, everything went pretty well. Had typical oil field issues with rig crews and things like that. Well, not that big a deal. Nothing worth talking about, really. And come to first of this year, I was let go by it. I'm not going to dwell on it. It's neither here nor there. Maybe mistakes were made. Maybe I didn't quite understand exactly what they were wanting. I have my own thoughts and feelings on it, but I'm not going to put it on here. You know, not worth it. No one needs to flame or go against everyone, but, you know, things sometimes just don't work out, and it's okay. So it went about a month, and I probably could have made videos during that time, but I was busy doing other stuff and working on a house at Baker for my parents and things like that. And working on other things, side projects. And I did a thing where I helped a company help a family that owned oil wells, kind of make things better for everybody. So that's one of the things, and it's been taking a lot of my time the past couple of weeks, and it will for the foreseeable future. But it's going to be worth it at the end, because it'll be good for the wells, it'll be good for the people involved, and everybody's going to make a little money out of it, and that's what matters, is we all work together and we all help each other. Outside of that one specific thing, be starting with another company, probably as a consultant pumper, here for the next week or so. I've been kind of doing some side projects for the past 4 months, helping out the prior owner, trying to get his production back online, but there's only so much one person can do with no equipment, or heavy equipment, or electrical license. And but I did troubleshoot everything for both him and the new owner, so that's running smoothly for transitional process. Then in February, I got probably one of my biggest contracts ever, and that put me in Posey County now. So, you know, I live in Kentucky. I'm a Kentucky pumper. But this was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. It is really, really good money. And between that and my two little side hustles that go with it, it's kind of doing the same thing. You know, I'm finally able to start building up and be able to do more stuff for the betterment of my family. One of them is get moved. I've got to get out of that place I live in Henderson. It's just got to. Of course, Henderson is the center point between my Kentucky wells and my Indiana wells. But Henderson does not like people who work in the oil field living in town, evidently. Or at least independent contractors like me. Because I have equipment, I have stuff that's got oil on it. There's stuff that comes out of the bed of my truck when it rains. You know, it's not going to hurt anything, but the city of Henderson does not like industrial equipment within the city limits on private property. Explain that to me. I didn't sign up for an HOA. I pay my rent. My landlord doesn't care, but the city does. The city cares so much that I got to keep my backup vehicle, my four-wheel drive, in Poole, 12 miles south of me, because they keep wanting to fine me for having excessive vehicles when one of my neighbors has got a yard full of them, and both sides of the streets have got wrecked and broke down vehicles of his, and they don't do anything about it. They pick on me. So I just need to get away from there. You know, the bullet nearly missing my head one night, and the city keeps picking on me. I just need to go. I cannot move for Indiana's for reasons. I would really prefer to live near Poole, because that would put me next to some very problem leases that need close attention. That'd be better if I lived near them, so I can address it on my own time and as quick as I need to, as long as I wasn't in Posey County, Indiana. And while I'm in Posey County, I have other coverage. I can take care of things that do come up, so it's not that big a deal. Also, the leases that I'm helping manage, it's 2 leases, technically 3, and a total of 8 wells. And right now I am running 3 of them, and the others need quite a bit of work. And with that said, I want to be closer to that area, but stay where I can get to Posey County quick. So ideally, somewhere between Henderson and Poole would work out best, time-wise. What I'm looking for is hard to find. I want a 4 to 5 bedroom, 2 to 3 bath. I want to be able to have room for when the kids come over. They can do whatever they want, have their own spaces. I would like a shop or a garage, so I can start expanding my 3D printing. Maybe do a little CNC, get a lathe and an end mill, and probably a plasma cutter someday, and kit out an entire shop where I can not only make stuff for hobby reasons, for my little model pumping units, or actual replacement parts on real pumping units. So with all of that being said, you know, I'm looking for something that I can afford, that I'm going to try to buy as a contractor, which is extremely hard. Getting a loan from a bank when you're an independent contractor is very difficult. And I don't want to use a cosigner. You know, I want to do this on my own. I'm 44. I should be able to by now. My income is at the right level to do it. And I'm kind of sick of renting. And 2 companies I work for, they're going to need somewhere to store equipment, so I wouldn't mind some extra property that I can make them a little yard to store stuff on. So 1, it's convenient for me, and 2, it's kind of in the middle of all their stuff. Um, but like I said, I've been very busy. And I do apologize for not being here. I noticed I've got 72 subscribers now. Cool. One of them's Neil, one of my bosses. Hi. And he's a great geologist. And anybody who watches this that wants to invest in an oil company, S&S, oil and gas, Posey County, do the thing. Anyway, on to other items I want to touch on in this now 30-minute long video. So Power Rangers Lightning Collection. What is up with that? Hasbro announced 2 days ago, as of this recording, that they were releasing licensing all rights to Playmates for child toys, accessories, role-play items, vehicles, whatnot, of the entire Power Ranger license worldwide, excluding Asia. And that's probably due to Super Sentai. Okay, well, what does that mean for the one thing Power Rangers I collect, which is Lightning Collection, specifically Mighty Morphin? I am still waiting on my pre-order of Green Ranger. I thought the red one was going to be hard to get. Nope. It was green. Big surprise. The one I'm completely missing from every set. I only have the Tommy Oliver White Ranger Metallic and the Tommy Oliver Foot Soldier from the Turtles Power Rangers 2-pack crossover. And I have the Tommy Oliver Dino Black, which was the last figure they released prior to the remaster. And I will not pay $100 for something they've made a better version of. That should be, in theory, a third of the price if I could find one. Hasbro canceled my entire pre-order, which was the Legacy Morpher for Tommy, Master Morpher. It was Kimberly, Jason, and Tommy. When the pre-order started shipping, I checked the status of it, and it had been zeroed out, which means they oversold the pre-orders, and I was toward the end of it, which means I got chopped off. So I was managed to track down the rest of them through like GameStop and other places. And then I found a web store, I believe it was Arena Toys. They had Green Ranger for pre-order. I bought it, paid for it back in December-ish. I'm still waiting. And I have been in contact with them. They're still waiting for their shipment of Green Rangers to even show up at their warehouse. They offered me to cancel it, so no, I can wait. Then we get news that basically says Hasbro's not going to be doing Power Rangers anymore. Going Playmates. There's a little caveat at the end. Hasbro Pulse will still be involved. Well, okay, does that mean we're going to get the rest of the Power Weapons? Because if so, I'll track down the ones I don't have, which is all of them. But I wasn't going to invest in that collection without knowing I'd have a set. I've got Saba from Bandai. I've got the Dragon Dagger from Bandai. You know, I want equivalently quality items to go with it on the weapons. I have Draken's helmet because, well, missed out on green and white when they came out. Didn't have the money, couldn't get them, can't afford them now, even though, yes, I can, but I'm not paying that much for it. If I'm going to pay that much for something, it better be like a Thunder Tank, or Cat Slayer, or Matty Collector Grayskull, or Snake Mountain. Yeah. So, I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach, see what's announced at the toy fairs, see what's announced in the media outlets, see what's announced for Hasbro Pulse. So that'd be the next PulseCon, which I believe is October? August? September? Somewhere in there? So we'll get news on that at that point. Playmates getting a license. Hey, that's great. I'll tell you why. The only way a brand can grow is you got to get the kids invested. The young audience leads to a future audience that leads to collectors like me. And if it's good enough, I'll buy it. It's shocking. But generally, I don't go for the kiddie style stuff. I would love to get a Godzilla, but I want what I'm looking for is way out of my price range right now. Probably something to the SH Figure Arts line. But, you know, you gotta build a base so the parents can afford to buy the stuff for the kids. They grow a love for it, and they become fans for life. That's how this works. A lot of companies seem to have forgotten that. I told Silver the other day, you know, once I get the Forgotten Realms and Battle of Baldur's Gate Magic cards I want, which is basically all the whole sets, I'm probably done with Magic. Got my Transformers. I've got, you know, got into Baldur's Gate 3, outstanding game, highly recommend it. Also, RoboCop Rogue City, 2 thumbs up. Yeah, I mean, Magic has tried to drive away people like me, but just like in roleplay, you play what you like, how you want, what you enjoy. Just because it's in a book or on a card doesn't mean you have to use it. And there's been a lot of talk in D&D. I've been listening to a lot of Reddit horror stories. And I'll keep thinking to myself it's your own setting. They call it homebrew now. My D&D character, which I've never got to play, is a conversion from Earthdawn, of my Earthdawn character. And I sat on D&D Beyond and made him. I think he would be a really, really fun character. I don't want a DM. I want to play, but I want a DM that's familiar with where my character comes from so he can play with that, or she can play with that. But everybody I know, they want to play. They don't want a DM. Which means I'm probably stuck with it, which means if I want to use him, he'll be a DMPC, which I am quite capable of doing. It's how I did Earthdawn. When I started, there was DMPCs, and when I ran the games, I used my player character as a juiced up version for DMPC, but he was there strictly and only if the party needed him, or to make sure they were on the right path for the quest they were doing, or to assign them a mission to go on. That's all he was for. That's what Brent did with Simon. That's what I do with Darian. And yes, I know, I cheated on a name. It was completely not on purpose. It was pointed out to me after the fact, and I didn't notice it until afterwards, and it's hysterically funny. So, but Darian was my first actual role-playing character that I created. So essentially, he's me. Astron was a character from Star Wars D6, and later 3rd edition and 3.5 D20. My Big Eye Small Mouth characters, I really can't remember most of their names except for Jaden. And then there was Marvel Role Playing. I've done that too. I recently got 5th edition D&D books, collector set, for a really good price. I want to do tabletop role-playing again. This is coming from a person that doesn't have time to even pop in a video game for more than 10 minutes. Woohoo! And I might want to stream it. Things happen in tabletop that a lot of times you have to be there moments. I can tell several stories. They sound crazy and fantastical because they are. And if there was a way to have recorded them back then, I would have done it, because it would have been a great video. But we'll see how that works out. I don't want to do online. I want to do in person. So that would mean getting my Canon Rebel out and setting it up and basically just recording the group a la like Critical Role or something, which, by the way, still never watched. I really need to. But I get going down the rabbit hole, Casual Criminalist or Midnight's Edge or Critical Drinker or any one of Simon's 20 other YouTube channels that I watch. Or I'll be watching Vice Grip Garage and fall down that rabbit hole for about a week. But, yeah. That's what's been going on. That's where I've been. I'm still alive. Still checking oil wells. Still doing what I know best. On the oil field videos, gotta be careful of what I post. There are liability reasons for that. Eventually I will get to do a proper 208 video. That seems to be the thing everybody really liked. It stays in my constant top 5 viewed videos since the day I uploaded it. And that was just an oil change and starting it. That wasn't actually going into how you repair one. How do you run one on electronic ignition versus magneto? I know there's a YouTube video on there of a guy starting one in his backyard with a magneto, and he did all of it wrong. I'm amazed it fired, because you don't do the one thing he did, but it managed to somehow. I suspect I know what happened, what they did to get it to fire. Pretty sure I know, but it's hard to say. Don't want to accuse anybody of something, but I think I know what they did. There's one of two things. Either off camera, they used gasoline and washed it, which is what you're supposed to do, and not WD-40. That's not going to let the trip have the friction to trip in order to create spark at low RPM. Or they loosened it so it would slap, and that would cause the trigger to trip. Those two things are how you do it. Or you knock on the casing, but generally that'll break them, and it's not a good idea. You do not. The reason you have to wash a magneto is you need it to impulse, which is called a low speed ignition. And you do that to get it started up when you crank it. And if it's got oil or penetrating fluid on it, it will not have the friction for the leg to come down off the bendix and hit. I guess it's called a bendix. Kind of the same thing. But it's got an interlock that goes into the timing gear. And there's a little leg that kicks out, that hits a screw, that causes it to kick back. And when it kicks back, it forces a spark. And that creates your ignition. So you got to have friction for that to work. Or it's got to jar itself for it to work. So you do that by either washing up gasoline and or loosening the mag and allow it to flop in the housing or into the mounting plate. And this is why I haven't done one with a mag. The wind just tried to close my door on my foot. That's nice. Is how they work. It's what they do. They accumulate the spark through a condenser and then release it through a magnetic trip to the spark plug itself. So I like electronic ignitions better. They're a little more reliable, a whole lot easier to work on once you got it troubleshot. But there's something about knowing how things actually work and how they're intended to work originally. And sometimes going more modern, though it's more convenient and gives you a better run time if you want to restore something There can be an argument made for going back original or going a hybrid of original and modern. The way we run oil field engines now, it's using 90-year-old technology with 10-year to 20-year-old advancements that happened in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. And kind of mishmashing it together. But as, like, if your electronic ignition fails and you can't get the part or you can't figure out what's wrong with it, you're down production. But if you know how to use a magneto, you can put that in and you can run it off the mag until you get your ignition system fixed. One of very few times you can actually do something like that, where using the older tech as a backup is actually a good idea. So, this video is now 46 minutes long. And I got to get a couple meter readings real quick and then head up to Princeton for a thing. Then get back to Kentucky before 5 o'clock. So, with that being said, this has been Astron 1701. Be good to each other. Be better than you were the day before. And never stop learning. Take care of yourselves. And hopefully, I'll see you soon. Laters.